Where's everybody on that? What's
I don't
what's the room
understand.
temperature?
I definitely think
I can't listen to this. Oh, and it's dumb fuck Masterson.
that we need a voter ID system. Like every nation, every Western nation, first world nation in the world has that. Mexico has that. You have to have an ID to vote. Like it's integral to the democracy that you prove your system.
American Idol has it. We don't have. You could walk where I voted, like this elementary school down the street. You could walk in and do the old restaurant reservation trick. Just read it up.
You don't have a constitutional right to vote in an American Idol poll. Why would you even make that comparison?
Upside down and say, yeah, that's me, and that's it.
And I feel like people act like requiring people to have voter ID is somehow at all akin to what they used to do like 60 years ago, 70 years ago, when they were like, all right, take this voting test. Have you seen those?
Oh, here's somebody that has no fucking idea what happened in North Carolina or why the Supreme Court upheld the lower court's decision that it was fucking racist as fuck.
It's not hard. No, it is not even hard. It's made to be impossible. It's made to disqualify. Because they'll say like number 6, it'll be like circle the first O in this sentence aside from the overall first, or like whatever, like just written in a way that's deliberately super confusing, so that no matter what the person did, they're gonna get disqualified. It used to be black people in the South, but like just saying, hey, you should have an ID, a government issued state ID, doesn't have to be a driver's license, it can just be a state ID. That's totally reasonable.
I mean, someone from the blue side, and people know I'm the blue guy on the show, I think, but I wish someone would explain to me why requiring an ID hurts Democrats so much. Because it almost.
Oh my God. Why would requiring somebody to make a trip to an office to get an ID card hurt people that generally are the most impaired when it comes to mobility or taking time off work to do something? I don't know. It's not that hard. Come on, like, have you made like a good faith effort to explore the arguments at all? For the record, I think I would be okay with a required ID. Well, you could convince me to become okay with requiring an ID to vote if the federal government mailed everybody one for free. And even that's a maybe. Even that's a maybe.
Almost sounds racist to me. Like, oh, Democrats, they're too poor for driver's licenses or going to a bar or all the things, buying cigarettes, like all the things you need ID for. Like, really, is that a thing? Like,
driving a car or going. You have to show ID in so many places.
Buying a tobacco or alcohol or
like even just like these comments are like, I hate to use the word, like dripping with fucking privilege. Like, like, come on, you got to get a driver's license to drive a car. Like, okay. Not necessarily everybody has a car. I know that might be impossible, like especially for like middle class people. Maybe that's like unfucking fathomable because when you go to fucking mom's house, they've got like literally 7 cars in their fucking driveway, and you're like, whoa, we got so many fucking cars. Like, oh fuck, dude.
Renting a car.
Is the assumption that all these Democrats have warrants out for their arrest and they don't want to be identified when they go voting?
I think the assumption is that a lot of them.
That's not even true. Just because you show your ID somewhere doesn't mean they automatically. That's not. Wait, even if that's not even true. Just because you show your ID somewhere doesn't mean they're automatically gonna fucking arrest you for it. What the fuck? Do you think that if you show your ID to file your taxes, they're gonna arrest you if there's like a fucking warrant or whatever? That's not how any of that works.
Legal immigrants living here, they're not legal, and somehow they're still voting.
That's not true. That hasn't been proven anywhere. Do you think they're gonna bring up the fact that one of the largest cases of election fraud that's happened, like in the history of all of fucking the United States kind that I'm aware of, was committed by the Republicans? Do you think we're gonna bring that? Do you think we're gonna get to that here? Where are we at on that, by the way? North Carolina election fraud. What's the update on this story? The unresolved House race. This was for the House, right? This wasn't for the state election. This is for the federal, like the House of Representatives, right? In Congress?
That's pretty ideal, isn't it? You can find
for
it all
Congress,
in Chicago. Search for your destination, add dates, and simply select what you're looking for in your ideal hotel. What do you...
They might... I don't know how much this has happened in U.S. history. They might have to redo the fucking election.
Is expanding. A CNN review of Robeson County found a team of hired Republican campaign workers may have harvested dozens of unsealed absentee ballots, then signed as witnesses. It's the same pattern found in neighboring Bladen County and allegedly connected to McCrae Dallas, the paid political operative under investigation. Dallas has not returned numerous requests for comment. The mounting evidence of election fraud has prompted the Democratic loser of the 9th District congressional race, Dan McCready, to rescind his concession to Republican Mark Harris.
Are you suggesting that your opponent, Mark Harris, knew about this election fraud?
Doesn't matter.
Well, it certainly looks that way. He hired a criminal who was under investigation for absentee ballot fraud to do his absentee ballot work, and apparently he got what he paid for. He liked the services so much that he actually recommended this criminal services to other politicians.
Friday afternoon, Republican Mark Harris, who won by just 905 votes, released this video on Twitter, reiterating he had no knowledge of any illegal activity, but says this.
If this investigation finds proof of illegal activity on either side to such a level that it could have changed the outcome of the election, then I would wholeheartedly support a new election to ensure all voters have confidence in the results.
In addition to the...
Finds illegal activity such that it changed the outcome of the election. Whew! That was an election that was determined by hundreds of votes.
Alleged ballot stuffing operation under investigation. Authorities confirmed to CNN a criminal investigation is underway, looking at a possible scheme to suppress minority absentee votes by destroying ballots. The director of North Carolina's Republican Party tells CNN his party is now open to the idea of a new election if the election fraud impacted the outcome of the race.
Anybody that targeted some
racial or demographic groups to affect their votes absolutely has to be prosecuted under state law and has to be prosecuted for federal civil rights violations.
North Carolina's Board of Elections announced McCrae Dallas is a person of interest in its investigation, and the board has subpoenaed records from the Mark Harris campaign, his political consultants, and in yet another twist, announced it's seeking records from the committee to elect Bladen County Sheriff.
I'm sure we're about to get to that in this, right? Well, December 8th. Uh-oh, nope. I'm sure we're about to get to this, right? I'm sure this is going to come up very soon.
If you believe Fox News, they would say. But that is horseshit, because you do have to be on the list.
They don't require ID.
They do require you to say who you are, unless your state's different than mine. I voted in New Jersey and North Carolina. You go in, you say, this is my name, this is my address, and then they look you up and make sure that your name and address is on that list, and then they give you a ballot.
Hey, good job. Woody's voted before.
So,
Yeah, in some cases,
I mean, if that's true, I just don't see why anyone has an issue with it. Like the reason that I want it to be true is
That's because you're...
I like the sanctity of the election, right? I want to make sure that who won. Like whether I like that person or not, whoever wins should win. Like we're not. That's what the fucking election is about. That's why
who
we're
are
doing
these
it.
people that don't even have IDs?
I don't know who those fucking people are.
I don't know who those people are.
Although, although better like, question. You meet these people all the time. Like Shroud, for example, does not have a driver's license. It's odd to me. Now he is from Canada, so maybe
That's on him. Like when you meet someone who's an adult who has a job and they don't have a driver's license or state ID, it's not like oh man, you're incapable of getting this done. It's like no.
It doesn't matter. It's not. It doesn't mean it's on you. There's not supposed to be a fucking a hoop that you have to jump through to fucking vote. Oh, I bet all of these. Especially this guy, especially fucking Kyle, I bet would go fucking apeshit the millisecond you suggest, hey, maybe before you get like a 450 round drum mag with heat-seeking, baby-murdering bullets that you can plug into an AR-15 that has fucking 700 million different attachments, maybe we should require like a license for that. Well, that's my constitutional right to buy a gun. You can't put blah, blah, blah. Like, holy shit. Okay, all right, I can't listen to this. I'm gonna get fucking...
And finally, number 1. The Deaths of Mr. and Mrs. Pheasant, Season 1. I know that this pick for
Genuine question. If you work, don't you already need some sort of state ID? I want to say at some point, most jobs should... Would they ask for an ID? I don't think I ever send an ID along with any W-9s. I think I normally just fill out my name and social security number. I'm trying to think if I usually show an ID for work for like W-2s. I imagine you generally would. I could be wrong on that though. Maybe they just ask you for your social security and name, like to fill out, like to fill out a W-9. You don't need an ID. I know that. But some jobs, I'd imagine they'd ask for one just to know, right? Do you need an ID to get a job? Is there bad blood between you and PK? No, I like Woody. I just disagree with the fuck out of him. Oh, there is bad blood between me and that one guy though. The fucking Dick Masterson dipshit. That guy is beyond fucking stupid. When I talk about my stance on deplatforming, he's one of the guys that would fucking go. Zero fucking business talking about anything politically related. That would be like me starting a podcast and calling it Destiny MD Today, giving you all the greatest in medical advice and all the new latest things that you can do to cure all of your fucking medical problems. Me doing that is about as responsible as him fucking going onto some podcast and ever opening his mouth about politics. I would pay money for a person to constantly follow him around and tap him on the shoulder and go, hey, Dick, you're about to talk about politics. You're probably going to say something really fucking stupid. Maybe you should consider shutting the fuck up. Or maybe like read an article at least so that you have some fucking idea what you're talking about before you go ahead and fucking verbally diarrhea whatever dumb fucking opinion you're about to say. Maybe. I'd pay money for that guy to just follow him around and remind him, like, Dick, you're about to talk about politics again. Maybe you should shut the fuck up. Destiny, check the I-9 form. Is it an I-9 or a W-9? Isn't it just a W-9? I never, you don't need an ID for this shit.
Hold on there, buddy. I need my flamethrower for home defense. I also use it for hunting.
You just fill out your shit. An I-9 is what I fill out for, an I-9 is what I fill out for 1099 work. W-4s are what you would fill out for W-2s. This is for withholding. You don't need, I don't think you don't need an ID for this either. But I mean, work could still ask you for one. Oh shit, wait. Do you need an ID to get a job? I already searched for this. United States law requires employers to see proof of identity before hiring someone. Citizens born in the U.S. only need a U.S. passport or passport card. Alternative, you can furnish a certified copy of your birth certificate plus a driver's license, military ID. Okay. So in the United States, it seems like if an employer is going to hire you, he does need to see an ID. I guess you just don't for contract work. Why isn't my name blue? Email me Thunderbrawn. I can get it. Look. Nothing wrong about having strong opinions about things you don't know. That's what freedom of speech is about. Hey, did you guys know that Victoria Obiera or whatever is a literal pedophile that's raping children constantly, all day, every day, guys? Hey, we need to find out who this guy... Like, okay, dude. Real fucking big brain take. How do you guys have the biggest brains of fucking... I feel like I'm back in high school again. I remember... I don't even fault you, because I used to think the same thing when I was 14 years old. Oh, yeah, dude. Freedom of speech... It should be fucking unlimited shit, dude. Like,
did you know that dinosaurs had big ears? But everyone
freedom of
forgot
speech, man.
because ears
Everyone
don't
should
have
say whatever
bones.
the fuck they want
It's
with
a
no
rock fact.
consequences. Like, oh, dude, like, fucking. That's why we're the fucking freest country, man. Fuck, I hate this goddamn country. Get me the fuck out of here. Holy shit.
Genuine question. Do many Americans not
No!
get IDs, licenses, passport, etc.? If so, what is the reason for that? 'Cause in Canada, you need your some form of ID for so much shit.
Okay, here's the problem, okay? Let's talk about all the problems. Oh, yeah, with voter ID, okay? Here are your main problems, okay? Number one, okay? Voting is one of the arguably, the most important constitutional right that you are granted. You have a right to vote in federal elections, okay? It is incredibly important. It is fundamental. It is paramount to a functioning democracy. So if you want to place any roadblock whatsoever between somebody voting and not voting, you need a damn good reason to do so, okay? Because we want as many people voting as possible. That's how democracy works, okay? So if you can't demonstrate that voter fraud has ever happened or is likely to happen, why would you put a roadblock up in front of somebody to vote? However small that roadblock is, what's the point? Your motives become very suspect at that point. That's one. Number two, there are people, believe it or not, in the United States who have a harder time getting a driver's license or some form of state ID than other people, okay? If you're wealthy, getting an ID is fucking whatever, okay? If you're poor, if you don't have a job, if you're 19 or 20, you live with your parents, you might not have transportation to get to a place. Is it rare that this would happen? Yeah, sure, probably. Can most people get an ID? Probably, yeah, most people. But the problem is that you are targeting a very specific subsection of people in the United States, probably people who are poor, probably people who are black, who are going to be disproportionately impacted by you putting that roadblock up to prevent them from voting. And when you're targeting a specific group of people and preventing them from voting by placing an artificial roadblock that you haven't shown a need to have, kind of makes you wonder why you would do that. 3, it's not always state IDs or state-issued IDs that are allowed in places. In North Carolina, when they tried to make an ID requirement, they made it so that some forms of state IDs were prohibited. Now, just a coincidence, these happen to be the types of IDs that black people tended to have more than white people. But it doesn't always work out such that every form of ID would be acceptable, okay? What if the government sends out IDs for free to vote? I mean, I'm more okay with this. I mean, there's still the idea that somebody could leave their ID at home and not vote, or the idea that somebody might be homeless and not be able to vote. Like, I don't know if you can vote if you're homeless, though, or how that works, because you need an address. But, like, I'd probably be more okay with that if it was federally funded and everything. But then some number of IDs are going to get lost in the mail. Like, I don't know. Like, it just hasn't been demonstrated that we need IDs to vote. It just doesn't seem like this voter fraud exists. How do you keep track of who voted if you don't use an ID? Well, when you show up at the ballot box, you say, hey, this is my name, this is my address, you check me off, and then I vote. My nephew can't get a license because he lost his social security card. My mom can't drive him to the office because both of them are either in work or school and can't get a ride 20 miles to the office. Money isn't even an issue. In North Carolina, I had to show an ID the first time I voted in 2016. I'm fairly certain that specific law is still around. Oh, maybe. They were going to do a revision to it then. Are you saying you shouldn't need any ID to vote? That's correct. In most places, I believe that's how it is right now. Do you think non-citizens should have the right to vote? I think you can make strong arguments for that in local elections. Oh, for federal elections, I don't know. I'd have to think about that a lot. So that's a really hard one to answer. The boring answer is that, well, in the rule books, it says no. But I mean, like, realistically, I mean, if somebody's living here, working here, paying taxes, and, like, participating in society, even if they're a non-citizen, I mean, should they have some say in who gets to... I don't know. That's a hard one. I would have to think about that a lot. I'm not sure. Why are homeless people aren't allowed to vote? Oh, I'm sure they are allowed to vote. I just don't know how they do it. I strongly disagree with Destiny on not needing ID to vote. Cool story, bro. I'm not from America, so don't you all get IDs? Here, your credit cards work as IDs. Where the fuck are you from? Why is it seemingly so difficult to get IDs in America? What's the rules? In Canada, you literally get a form when your kid is born to fill out so they immediately get their health card so you have an ID from birth, essentially. We don't get IDs from birth in America. You get a social security card, but it doesn't have a picture on it. Why am I American? Because I was born here. What does registering to vote mean? Usually little cards, I think, are mailed to your house where you fill it out and then mail it back, and then you're registered to vote. What the fuck?
It's a meme, Mario.
Words are vibrations you think you have to honor. Money is paper you think you have to value. Holy shit. This is actually really sick. I'm going to print this tweet out, and then after I move to California, I'm not going to pay my rent, and the guy's going to come to the door and be like, money is paper that you think has value. But in reality, it's only because we say it does. Get the fuck out of my
Maryland
doorway.
has a dope-ass
I'm not
voting
paying you
system.
shit, bitch.
Just over a week of early voting. Feels good. Min bonus meme. Yee boy. Yee soy. Yee goy.
What do you think about voter roll purges? I voted last month and my dead mom's name was still on the voter roll. It made me super uncomfortable. I mean, does your dead mom, like, pull herself out of the fucking grave and go to vote? That's, like, really tasteless. I didn't mean it like that. But I mean, like, do dead people really vote? Is this a problem that's been demonstrated? Oh, god damn it. Am I about to watch this shit? 14 minutes. I'm sorry. That was really mean. I didn't mean it to be mean like that. Fuck. I'm sorry. But, like, I don't think it's ever been demonstrated that, like, dead people en masse are, like, running around to vote, right?
Good evening once again.
At Destiny. Seems like there is voter fraud happening in California. Oh, California! Our favorite place to talk about. With all those goddamn Mexicans. Republicans in the House make up for what little time they have energy. CA voter fraud. QAnon Huber to testify. Oh boy. Let's see what great sources we have for here. It could be happening. Let's find out. Let's investigate.
Again, and welcome to this crazy world we live in. We've got some amazing stories coming out of the news today. Things are definitely starting to heat up. You've got talk about voter fraud in Orange County, California here. Jim Hoft of the Gateway Pundit reporting. Excellent publication. You can see here that Orange County is a traditionally Republican area. Now, all of a sudden, it is 100% Democrat. Very, very strange. You had a disproportionate number of people voting for governor that voted for Republicans in this district, and the numbers just don't add up. So Jim Hoft is reporting on the fraud taking place there. This is a great place to go.
The numbers just don't add up. Aren't there a lot of red counties that went blue for the House election day? This is our voter fraud. The numbers just don't add up.
For your information, I highly recommend checking out the Gateway Pundit if you don't already. And then beyond that, we've also got a story out of the LA Times.
That was it? That was the story? Who linked this? Dog. Wait, who linked this? Blue Dragon. All right. I got to check.
Hit or miss. I want to be Winston.
I got to check your logs. I'm real curious. I'm real curious about this one.
Election fraud scheme on LA Skid Row got homeless to sign fake names for cigarettes in cash, the DA says. So basically, you had people going out and giving cigarettes and money to homeless people, getting them to register, and then having them fill out absentee ballots. It is a classic case of voter fraud, and you have 9 people who are now in quite a bit of trouble. And then last but not least, and you have 9 people who are now in quite a bit of trouble.
Defendants approach homeless people on Skid Row and ask them to forge signatures on state ballot measure petitions and voter registration forms, the district attorney's office said. So these people didn't actually vote. Okay.
And then last but not least, House GOP to hold hearing into DOJ's probe of the Clinton Foundation. This one is too important to miss. The Hill is kind of hit or miss on the reporting, but John Solomon is a great reporter. This is actually from Tess Bond. But Tess says, Representative Mark Meadows, Republican, North Carolina, said Tuesday that House Republicans plan to hear testimony on December 5th from the prosecutor appointed by former Attorney General Jeff Sessions to probe alleged wrongdoing by the Clinton Foundation. He who shall not be named, John Huber, the Mormon Canon, coming out of Utah. Meadows, who is chairman of the House Oversight Committee on Government Operations, told Hills.TV Rising that it's time to circle back to U.S. Attorney General John Huber's investigation with the Justice Department into whether the Clinton Foundation engaged in any improper activities.
Heating up for sure, brother. Q just dropped.
And I think that anyone watching this knows, proof positive, they did. Mr. John Huber, with the Department of Justice and the FBI, has been having an investigation. At least part of his task was to look at the Clinton Foundation and what may or may not have happened as it relates to improper activity with that charitable foundation. So we've set a hearing date for December the 5th, he told Hill.TV during an interview on Wednesday. So, this is the breaking of the dam for the Clinton investigation, the Clinton Foundation investigation.
How many times is the dam broken on this? As indictments and charges continue to fall on fucking Trump, like fucking campaign members and shit. But nope, that Clinton shit, it's real fucking close.
Remember when those government DOJ planes went into Little Rock and grabbed all of those records? And then, of course, you've got Huber, who's been in charge of all of these sealed indictments. The noose is certainly tightening. Now, it goes on to say that Meadows said the committee plans to delve into a number of Republicans' concerns surrounding the foundation, including whether any tax-exempt proceeds for personal gain and whether the foundation complied with IRS laws. I remember hearing some time ago that the Clinton Foundation paid for Chelsea Clinton's wedding. That sounds like foundation funds being used for personal gain. Now, for those who don't know, Sessions appointed Huber last year to work in tandem with the Justice Department to look into conservative claims of misconduct at the FBI and reveal several issues surrounding the Clintons. This includes Hillary Clinton's ties to a Russian nuclear agency and concerns about the Clinton Foundation. Boom. Uranium 1. Huber's work has remained shrouded in mystery. The White House has released little information about Huber's assignment other than Sessions' address to Congress, saying his appointment should address concerns raised by Republicans. But Meadows said the committee thinks it's time Huber gives an update to Congress about its findings and expects him to be one of the witnesses at the hearing. This is going to be something you do not want to miss. John Huber in front of Congress playing coy about putting Hillary Clinton and all of her cohorts into Guantanamo Bay. This is me, I'm just surmising here about what's probably going to happen. I honestly don't expect him to come out and say too many damning things. There's probably going to be a couple of breadcrumbs, some tidbits for us, people who've been watching this for the last couple of years, God, decades. But
just like Nunes's memo, right?
Definitely going to be a good show. Good show. Now, Meadows also added that his committee is also trying to secure testimonies from whistleblowers who could have more information about potential improprieties surrounding the Clinton Foundation. That is super important because anybody who has been paying attention has seen that numerous whistleblowers, numerous people who were scheduled to testify or who had damning information about Hillary Clinton or the people close to her, miraculously end up dead in mysterious circumstances. I wonder about this gentleman who was working for Health and Human Services that was in charge of drug prices. He was found to be committing suicide through blunt force trauma. Who bashes himself to death with a hammer? I've never heard of that in my life. That just, it goes against all logic and reason. Doesn't make any sense. Now, we're just now starting to work with a couple of whistleblowers that would indicate that there is a great probability of significant improper activity that's happening in and around the Clinton Foundation. Of course there is. The foundation, meanwhile, has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing, as they should, because they are evil. This move marks House Republicans' last-ditch effort to pursue their concerns surrounding the Clinton Foundation before Democrats take back the House in January. That means they're running out the clock. They've got a job to do, and they've got a limited time to do it, so they need to crack that nut while they've got the ability to do so. All right, and then last but not least, I've got a wonderful little chestnut here for you from someone I follow on Twitter.
I don't care anymore. Destiny fucking blown the fuck out. Uh-oh. Is this one of the PKA guys? What a fucking idiot. You literally need a license to buy a gun. Why not vote? Pretty sure in most states, you don't need shit. But I could be wrong. Do you need an ID to buy a gun? Do you need a license to buy a gun? I thought in like 35 states you didn't fucking... In 36 states, there are no legal requirements for gun registration, no permit needed, and no license necessary to purchase and own a firearm such as a rifle, a shotgun, or a handgun.